The quiet town of Silver Pines, Oregon, was the kind of place where lost hikers were found within hours, smiling sheepishly over a wrong turn. That's why the disappearance of 24-year-old Leo Vance on a crisp October afternoon sent a seismic shock through the community. He was an experienced outdoorsman, a popular barista with an infectious laugh. He told his roommate he was heading to the Whisper Creek Trail for a short hike to clear his head. He was last seen at the trailhead, pulling a dark green beanie over his auburn hair, giving a friendly wave to a couple just setting out. Then he walked into the dense, ancient woods and never returned. The only thing more unsettling than his absence was what his phone began to do days later, pinging towers far from where any logical search could follow. To understand the dread of his disappearance, you have to understand Leo Vance. He wasn't a reckless adventurer, he was a planner. As the son of a local park ranger, he knew the Cascade foothills like his own backyard. Friends called him the anchor of their social group, reliable, kind, and deeply rooted. He was saving money from his job at the Steaming Mug to go back to school for forestry management. He had just started a promising romance with a young teacher named Elena. His life was a tapestry of simple, bright threads, hiking, indie rock playlists, terrible puns, and Friday night board games. There was no history of depression, no secret debts, no reason to just vanish. His life was on the cusp of blooming, which made his sudden evaporation into the mist-shrouded woods a story that refused to make sense. The night Leo vanished began with chilling normalcy. His roommate, Ben, remembers Leo packing a modest day pack with a water bottle, a protein bar, and a first aid kit. The weather was turning, and Ben joked about him getting caught in the rain. Leo just smiled, saying, "I'll be back before dark." "Save me some pizza." Surveillance footage from a gas station confirmed him buying a granola bar and Gatorade, chatting easily with the clerk. He reached the trailhead at 3:17 p.m. The elderly couple who saw him said he seemed content, maybe a little pensive, but not distressed. As dusk faded to black, Ben's texts went unanswered. Calls went straight to voicemail. By 9 p.m., a cold fear had settled in Ben's gut. Leo always kept his phone charged, always checked in. The woods, now a vast, dark entity, had swallowed his friend whole. The initial search was massive. Search and rescue teams with dogs scoured Whisper Creek Trail, while helicopters with thermal imaging thumped overhead. They found Leo's car, still parked and locked, with his wallet tucked in the glove compartment. This ruled out a simple trip to the city. There were no signs of a struggle on the popular path, no discarded clothing, nothing. The first real lead came from phone records. Leo's device had stopped transmitting its location at 4:02 p.m. near a rocky overlook called Falcons Point, about 2 miles in. This focused the search, but teams found nothing there. No slip marks, no belongings. Then the mystery deepened. 36 hours after he disappeared, Leo's phone suddenly powered back on. It pinned a cell tower over 50 miles away, in the bustling port city of Astoria, before going dead again. How could a phone travel so far so fast? The Astoria ping ignited a frenzy of theories. Was Leo involved in something secret? A tip came in about a suspicious man in a black pickup truck seen near the trailhead, but it led to a birdwatcher with a solid alibi. Then, a vagrant found a phone case matching Leo's near the Astoria docks, fueling speculation of a drug deal gone wrong or a voluntary runaway. But the case was waterlogged and had been there for weeks, a cruel coincidence. The most haunting red herring was a series of garbled voicemails left on Ben's phone from an unknown number, just static and what sounded like ragged breathing. They were traced to a malfunctioning telemarketing system. Each false lead was a door slamming shut. For 2 weeks, the case went ice cold. Then the digital ghost stirred again. Leo's phone powered on, this time pinging a tower in the remote timber town of Cedar Falls, over 100 miles east of Astoria, and in the opposite direction from Silver Pines. This was no accident. Someone was moving with this phone. Digital forensic experts finally made a breakthrough. Each time the phone briefly connected, a specific, rarely used hiking app was attempting to sync. The app's servers held a cache of data, erratic, manually inputted waypoints charting a bizarre looping route through the state. But more crucially, the last automatic GPS log from Falcon's Point showed Leo had stopped moving for 14 minutes before the signal died. He hadn't fallen, he had lingered. Someone else had later begun using the app on his phone, but clumsily, unaware it was phoning home. The waypoints formed a crude circle, centered on a patch of national forest with a web of old logging roads. A tech analyst noted the phone was always powered on briefly after passing near a specific highway junction, a possible charging point. Detectives staked out the junction and, after 4 days, saw a familiar face. Derek Moss, a 38-year-old long-haul trucker and occasional hiking guide, who they had interviewed early on as just someone who frequented the area. They watched him toss a bag into a diner's trash can. Inside, they found a cheap burner phone and a receipt for a prepaid credit card used to buy a phone charger. Most damningly, forensic analysis found minute particles of a unique mineral composite on the burner. Phone a perfect match to the distinctive granite dust found only at Falcon's Point Overlook. With the evidence mounting, detectives orchestrated a climatic confrontation. They tracked Derek's rig on a run south, coordinating a routine truck inspection at a way station. As officers engaged him, others searched his cab. Hidden in a modified compartment behind his sleeper bunk, they found it, Leo's smartphone, its cracked screen still showing a faded photo of Leo and Elena. Confronted with the phone and the geologic evidence, Derek's calm facade shattered. He claimed he hadn't planned on killing anyone. He said he'd been at Falcon's Point that day, fly fishing, when he witnessed Leo accidentally slip and strike his head on the rocks. Seeing his chance, Derek decided to rob the seemingly dead hiker. But as he was taking Leo's phone and wallet, Leo had groaned, regaining consciousness. In a panic, Derek finished the job, then used his knowledge of the backroads to create a confusing digital trail. Derek Moss led a grim procession of investigators to a forgotten logging spur deep in the woods, miles from the original search zone. There, beneath a blanket of ferns and decomposing leaves, they found Leo Vance. The scene confirmed a violent, blunt force trauma attack, not a simple fall. The recovery brought a harrowing closure, ending the torturous uncertainty. In Derek's truck, police found a trove of stolen wallets and IDs from other remote trailheads in neighboring states. Derek Moss was a predator who targeted isolated hikers, using his trucking routes as both alibi and hunting ground. The digital ghost had been a testament not to Leo's life, but to his killer's arrogant carelessness, a modern-day trail of breadcrumbs left in the form of pings and data packets. The quest for justice was swift. Charged with aggravated murder and robbery, Derek Moss's defense crumbled. The timeline from the hiking app, the granite dust, and the receipts all sealed his fate. He pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty and received a sentence of life in prison without parole. In the courtroom, Leo's mother said, her voice trembling but clear, "You didn't just take my son. You tried to make his memory a puzzle, a ghost story. But we found him, and we silenced you." The case was closed, but for those who loved Leo, a profound mystery remains. The mystery of his final conscious moments. The factual how was answered, but the human why, the why of random, opportunistic evil lingers like a chill in the Silver Pines woods. His story became a cautionary tale, changing how the community hikes. People now travel in pairs, share locations obsessively, and view secluded trails with a new wariness. The woods themselves feel different now. The case's legacy is etched in both law and local lore. Police departments across the region adopted new protocols for treating cell phone data with the same urgency as physical evidence. Leo's father, the park ranger, championed the installation of emergency beacon towers at popular trailheads, a project now named Leo's Light. Yet, the haunting question persists. How many other accidents in remote places were something more? This story is a stark parable for our modern age, where technology can both obscure and reveal the truth, creating digital phantoms that hold the key to very real graves. Derek Moss tried to write a story of a disappearance, a mystery without an answer, but in the end, the story was reclaimed. It is now a story about a vibrant young man, a community's love, a father's advocacy, and the relentless pursuit of truth. It underscores that in our digital world, we leave echoes of ourselves everywhere. And sometimes those echoes outsmart the monsters who try to silence them. The Whisper Creek Trail is still hiked, but the shadow near Falcons Point feels just a bit longer. The case is closed, the killer imprisoned, yet the mystery that endures is not one of evidence, but of essence. It's the eternal question of what we truly leave behind, not just our digital footprints, but the memories that become folklore, the love that turns to advocacy, and the silence that, once broken by a single, errant ping, can never be fully restored. Thank you for watching.